So a volume for a cylinder, or of a cylinder, is going to use the same formula. Volume is equal to area of the base times height, and then we just have to look at the area of the base. And of course the base is a circle. How do I find the area of a circle? Pi r squared. So it's going to be volume is equal to area of the base times the height. And anytime I have two bases, like a prism or a cylinder, I'm always going to use area of the base times the height. And then we'll see on the next page what we do for a pyramid. So area of the base is a circle, pi r squared, h. And that's all there is. Now you're just going to plug it in and use your calculator. Not anything difficult. So here we have 3.14 times the radius squared times the height. And that's all we're going to do. Pull out your calculators now. Well, let's do it. So we have 3.14 times 2.2 squared times 4.5. And I got 68.3892. We're going to do it again, because if we put just into a calculator, we want to kind of double check our work. And I got the same thing both times, so I'm good with that. Now, it doesn't say where to round to. Oh, down here it says round to the nearest tenth. So we're going to go with that. Round to the nearest tenth. So that's going to be 68.4 feet. And we're in volume, so it's cubed. Good. The next example, we get to draw. Yay! We get to draw the cylinder. So draw your oval. And again, that's called an ellipse in math, but we'll call it an oval for now because you haven't learned about ellipses. Draw those lines down. Then we're going to draw the front loop, and we're going to dot in. We have to kind of see in our head where that's going. The volume has a diameter of 8.5. Now, could we do this without drawing it? Probably, but you want to get in the habit of always drawing it. And the height is 25. Oh, hey, we have a diameter, but our formula calls for radius. So let's keep that in mind. Our radius, then we have to find out by taking 8.5, divide it by 2. So that's going to give us 4.25, I believe. Let's just make sure. 4.25. Okay, so here we go. Volume of a prism or of a tooth base is area of the base times the height. The base here is a circle, so pi r squared times h. So we have 3.14 times our radius of 4.25. We're going to square that. We're going to take it times our height of 25. Okay? So we multiply. Okay, this is a big number. I'm going to double check that. I got it twice, so we're going to go with that. Round to the nearest tenth. So it's going to be 1,417.9. What are we? Feet. We're volume, so we're cubed. Okay? So now, do we really need to do another one? I don't know. If you were in the room right now, I would check one. I would have us check one. So, hey, let's do one. You're going to do it on your own. Ready, set, let's do number 5. Okay? Go. So hopefully we recognize we have a diameter there, so we have to take half of it and get our radius. So this is what we're plugging in so far, 3.14 times 1.05 squared times 3. Okay, now use your calculator. I got 10.38555. So twice, so I'm going to use that. Round to the nearest tenth. 5 or above, give it a shove. So 10.4 meters cubed. Great. Good. Number 6. You can draw it, or else you can just do it from here. We know we have a diameter, we have to have a radius. So we could draw it, and yes, because I'm a geek, I would draw it. But we could also just say, hey, wait a second, I'm going to have to use my radius as half of that, so that's 5.5. I know my formula is area of the base times the height. I know my base is a circle, so I'm going to multiply this. So I could just plug it into the formula and go that way. That is fine also. Okay? So let's go to pyramids on the back. And remember, if you have any questions, jump into a Google Meet. Ask me questions, email me. Okay, so here we go. A pyramid is a three-dimensional shape. So now we're talking a pyramid. When we talk a pyramid, we need to understand that our volume is 1/3 area of the base times the height. Now you'll notice we did not do surface area on a pyramid. And the reason we did that is because you have to do what's called a slant height, because you have to find the area of the triangle. So you'd have to use Pythagorean theorem, and you'd have to have some other knowledge of triangles. So you can find surface area, but it's a whole different formula. It's something using slant height, meaning the height of the side of a pyramid or of a cone. We're not going to get into that this year. So the only thing we have to realize is we're going to have to look at the area of the base. Now you can look at A and B. This is a rectangle for a base. This is a triangle. So you just have to be aware, okay? So here we go. Volume is equal to 1/3 area of the base times the height. So 1/3. The reason it's 1/3 is because, and there's videos out there if you want to see this, they take and they place 3 different pyramids into a giant prism, rectangular prism, and so it shows that a pyramid is 1/3 that of the volume for a prism. Okay, so now our base, we have to look at this on an individual basis. Here, it is a rectangle, so length times width, and then I'm going to take it times the height. So I have 1/3 times 4.3 times 3.2, and you don't have to put in parentheses. I'm doing that for emphasis sake to say, hey, this is the base. Then I'm going to take it times the height. Now notice the height is a perpendicular distance from what's called, this is an apex, goes from the apex perpendicular to the base. So this is your height right here. That's the apex right up here. So this is your height of your pyramid, which is 11. Okay, and it's going to be pretty obvious what's the height of the pyramid. Okay, so sorry about that interruption. Okay, so now we're just going to take our calculators and we're going to multiply. One thing that I would recommend is, well, you have super duper awesome calculators. You can just put 1/3 into your calculator. Me personally, I'm going to multiply these 3 things together and then divide by 3. So do it whichever way you want to. Here we go. We're going to plug it into our calculators and come up with a number. Go. So I entered it into my calculator both ways, where I multiplied and then divided by 3, and also then used my cool calculator. Yes, my pink calculator's home with me. And I multiplied across that way. So now I'm going to get 50.5 because I give it a shove, and that's going to be meters cubed. Okay, no problem there. Last one, as far as a type that we're going to look at, is a pyramid that has a triangular base. So I still use the same formula, 1/3 area of the base times the height. But this time, what I need to understand is that my base is going to be a triangle. So I'm going to take 1/2 base times height, and then times the height, okay, of the pyramid. Okay, so just be aware, we have 2 h's there. This is the height in our triangle down here. This is the height of your pyramid. And that's the reason here I definitely use parentheses so I can emphasize what I'm talking about. It just makes it less confusing. So let's plug in numbers. 1/3 times 1/2 times the base, which is 5. And my height of my triangle is 4. And then my height of my pyramid is 8. Okay, make sure you see the difference between those 2 heights. Now you're just going to use your calculator and come up with a number. Go. Okay, so before I get into the calculator, just want to point out a couple things. What I could do here is notice I could take and multiply all that in my head. Okay, because 5 times 4 is 20, half of 20 is 10, sorry. Half of 20 is 10. Take that times 8, I get 80. Take 80 divided by 3 or times 1/3, and I can come up with my answer. So kind of look for those sometimes. It's actually quicker to do that in my head than it is to do it on my calculator and entering all this stuff in. So calculators are great, but sometimes you can do it faster. And the reason I talk about speed is because when you take an ACT test in high school. Okay, so what I just said is I took half of that, I got 10, took that times 8, then I'm going to multiply that times 1/3. I'm going to actually divide it. So I'm going to take 80, divide it by 3, and I get 26.6 going on forever and ever and ever. Round it to, oh, wait, I guess I need at least one more. Okay, so now here's the nearest tenth, so 26.7 yards cubed. Okay, now looking down at these next ones, what I want to point out is they're trying to trick you on a couple. Can you see the ones they're trying to trick you on? We're in notes for a pyramid, but look what they do. They put in prisms. So you need to remember that this is area of the base times the height. Even though it has a triangular base, it's not a pyramid. It's a prism, so you have to use that one. Whereas on these 4, you're going to use volume is equal to 1/3 area of the base times the height because they're pyramids. So just keep that in mind. Okay, since I wrote the formula for those 2, let's do these 2 right now. Let's go ahead and do this one first. I'm going to pause it. I'm going to ask you to do it too. Then we'll check our answers. Okay, so I got 700 doing it both ways. I, of course, took half of 20, got 10, and then put it in my calculator, 10 times 14 times 15 divided by 3. But if I go straight across in my calculator, I still get 700 millimeters cubed. Great. Now, I learned my lesson on this one. I'm going to write my work down here. So this is volume of area of the base times height. So that means I'm going to look at my base. My base is a triangle, 1/2 base times height. And then I'm going to take it times the height of the pyramid. So this is the area of my base again. I don't have to take it times 1/3 because it's got two bases. So I have 1/2. Oh, you were going to try this one. Go. So on this one, you might have noticed that 1/2 and 2 cancel each other out. So all I actually had to do was multiply these two. Kind of be aware of those. It just speeds it up a little bit. Anyway, however you did it, you're going to come up with 27.3 feet cubed. Good. Okay. So, hopefully you understand volume. Make sure you're watching. Is it a pyramid? Is it a prism? Two different bases. Two different bases. Pay attention to that. Okay? So, on your homework. Now you notice it's going to give you lots of things. It says volume of pyramids practice, but it's pretty much volume practice because you're going to be doing pyramids, cylinders. Look at that. You have a cylinder, a pyramid, but look on the back. You have some prisms. Okay, let's look at these down here and make sure that we know how to do them, and let's just kind of draw those in for 13 and 14 and look at what they're actually asking us to do. Mama Rose's soup is shipped in boxes with 12 cans to a box. Each can has a diameter of 3.5 inches and a height of 5 inches. Find the volume of 12 cans of Mama Rose's soup round to the nearest tenth. So, important things, 12 cans. And we want to find the volume of 12 cans. We know that our diameter is 3.5 and our height is 5 inches. So if you want to do a quick sketch, you can. And sometimes it's helpful. Oh, my can got away from me. See my diameter. And I like to do a sketch, but I'm a visual learner. 3.5 and my height is 5. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the volume. And I have to realize this is a prism, so it's going to be area of the base times the height. So this is going to be pi r squared h. So I have 3.14 times the radius. I have to find the radius, so 3.5 divided by 2 is going to give me a radius of 1.75. Okay, so my radius is 1.75. Okay, I'm going to square that. Don't forget to square, and then take it times 5. So multiply. I got 48 round to the nearest tenth. Now, if I want to be more accurate, I would actually leave all these digits on here because I'm going to have to multiply again in order to find for all 12 cans. So if I want to be more accurate, I would leave it like this. And as you get into upper division math, they're going to encourage you to do that. But the other thing is just leave it on your calculator. Okay, now of course I'm going to do it twice to make sure I did it right. And so I'm going to multiply that again. And I did get the same answer. That is for 1 can. We need it for 12. So now I'm just going to take and multiply this times 12 to get my volume for all 12 cans. So I just leave that in my calculator and I go times 12. And then it's going to give me 576.975. Now I round. Now is when I round to the nearest tenth. So that's going to be, oh wow, that's going to kick that up 1. Therefore, that kicks that up 1. So I'd write it as 576.0. The reason I have to do that 0.0 is because I want to show that I actually round it to the nearest tenth. So I do need to have on that 0.0. It does matter here. And then it's volume, and we're in inches, so it's going to be inches cubed. Okay? Oh, wait, I just did that whole problem for you. I'm sorry. Oh, well, I don't think you'll care. Number 14, the top of a fence post is the shape of a square pyramid. Pyramids. Okay. These are a little harder to draw, but I'll try. So you draw a parallelogram. You have to realize 2 of the sides would not be seen. Then you want to put an apex up here someplace and go, okay, that's going to go here, and this is one I don't see, and this is one I see, and this is one I see. Whew! Okay. So what we have to know is the height of the pyramid. Okay, so the height in here from here down to here, I'm not even going to put it in there. There's your height. and that has a height of 5. And the side of the base is 7.4, but remember it said it's a square, so this one's also 7.4. Okay, so go ahead and find that. Find the volume of the wood needed to make the top of the gate post. So this is just the top of the gate post, round to the nearest tenth. I'll let you finish that one. Okay, good. So if you have questions, again, pop into a Google Meet, email me, whatever. Tell your teacher, your substitute, they can text me, and I can make sure that I'm on that Google Meet. So hopefully that all works. Have a great day. Thank you very much.